This is Carson TV News, your capital city news source.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Carson TV News, your source for Nevada's capital city news. I'm Courtney Bloomer. Christmas is in the rearview mirror, but New Year's Eve is still on the horizon this Wednesday night. Visit I Love Carson City on Facebook or on our sister site, Carson Now, for a full list of activities that are taking place this New Year's Eve to help bring in 2015. On New Year's Day, the Nevada Division of State Parks encourages everyone to get outdoors with a free guided hike at Spooner Lake State Park. Get an early start on your New Year's resolution to be more active by attending this fun activity. The hike is about 2 miles long and will take about 2 hours. Very little elevation change makes this hike a family favorite. Children are welcome, but dogs are not allowed on this activity. Attendees should plan to meet at Spooner Lake State Park at 10 a.m. This will be a snowshoe hike if there is enough snow. Please dress warmly and bring a snack and water. In the event of severe weather, the hike may be canceled, so please check with the park for more information. Carson City Health and Human Services and Friends in Service Helping, commonly known as FISH, are teaming up to fight hunger and prevent the spread of flu in our community. Between January 5th and 9th, community members can bring a donation of 2 cans of food to the health department and, in return, receive a voucher for a free flu vaccination. Vouchers for flu vaccine can be redeemed during the health department's regular immunization clinics any Thursday in January. Visit www.gethealthycarsoncity.org for more information. With Christmas past, you may be wondering what to do with that tree that's still sitting in your living room. Well, Carson City and Waste Management are once again offering their annual Christmas tree curbside recycling service. As in previous years, Christmas trees can be placed outside on your curb on your regular trash collection day or taken to drop-off locations beginning on January 5th. Trees will be chipped and used as mulch. Last year, 31 tons of wood waste was diverted from the landfill because of the recycling program. Curbside collection will be from January 5th through the 9th on your regular trash day. If trees are taller than 6 feet, Waste Management asks that you cut them up into sections of 3 feet or smaller. Residents need to remove all decorations, lights, tinsel, and bases from the trees before they can be recycled. Trees can also be dropped off at the locations shown on your screen between January 5th and 9th. After the 9th, residents will need to take their trees to the Carson City landfill for recycling. Call the Carson City Environmental Control Authority for more information. As the Nevada big game hunting season comes to a close, here's Rob Beamer showcasing some local residents' trophies from 2014.
As the 2014 big game season comes to a close, we've been blessed with having a number of local residents send us pictures of their harvest, and we'd like to showcase 3 sportsmen. First, let's start with Miss Amy Santos, who's blessed to harvest this beautiful pronghorn antelope in northwestern Nevada. Next up is Adam Santos, which just so happens to be Amy's cousin, who drew both a pronghorn antelope tag and a Nevada bull elk tag as well. Adam harvested his pronghorn in northwestern Nevada and his elk in eastern Nevada. Finally, we have Shane Bell, who has been applying for the coveted Nevada Desert Bighorn or Nelson Bighorn tag for well over 10 years and was successful this year in drawing that tag. He and his brother Jason set out in southern Nevada to harvest this beautiful ram. Congratulations to all these local sportsmen. Please join us on carsontv.org or cable channel 193 for the next episode of Sierra Nevada Outdoors. We'll have special guests Dawn and Elaine Quilsey with us. They're going to share with us some tips on photographing the great outdoors right here in the Sierra Nevada Outdoors.
Thank you, Rob. I was able to join Carson City Sheriff's officers last week for a crosswalk safety operation. Although traffic was heavy due to the holidays, only 29 warnings were issued. This is a sharp decrease from previous crosswalk operations. Pedestrian safety should be a top concern for everyone, and it appears that Carson City residents are starting to get the message.
Hello, I'm Courtney Bloomer with Carson TV News. We're here on South Carson Street in Carson City, where the Sheriff's Office is conducting a crosswalk safety operation. A number of pedestrian accidents recently in Carson City have prompted a step up in efforts to control traffic and make it safer for pedestrians. Here today, they've been issuing citations for cell phones and speeding, but many drivers in Carson City seem to be getting the message that they need to yield to pedestrians, especially those in crosswalks.
For the most part, it appears people have been getting the message. We haven't had as many stops as we had predicted. However, we are still making some for cell phones, speeding, and such. For the pedestrian end, it seems that a lot of people are noticing our pedestrians and are stopping. One thing I do want to point out is we are doing this during the daylight hours, bright orange outfits, etc., with the sun hitting these, very reflective. And if you take that same concept and for pedestrians, if they'd start wearing reflective clothing or brighter clothing, be a better shot for them to be seen by the motorists at dusk and the nighttime hours. So the visibility you see right now in the daytime with our walkers can also be put into the nighttime hours. So we really want people to think about that when they're out walking. But right now we're doing pretty well. We've made a few stops, but for the most part, people are stopping for the pedestrians as they're crossing, and we do greatly appreciate it. Although state law allows vehicles to move when the pedestrian is out of your travel lane, in this case, both travel lanes, common courtesy would dictate that you wait for them to totally cross the roadway so they can get across safely.
Do you love the zany entertainment of shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Join in the fun and try out your acting skills every first Friday during Improv at the BAC. Held monthly at 7 p.m. in the Brewery Arts Center's Maisie Harris Jesse Theater, Improv at the Back features fun, games, and occasionally the magic of green screen. Admission is free and everyone is invited to participate in the skits. Be the star of your own improv segment with setups like newscaster, hitchhiker, lines on the floor, props, the dating game, and more familiar favorites.
The Carson High boys basketball team started the holidays off right last Tuesday against Reed. Dominating from the start, the Senators ended up with a 42-25 win. Then it was on to the Torrey Pines Holiday Classic in Carlsbad, California. Following a very narrow 38-37 win over Laguna Beach on Friday night, the Senators lost 43-40 against Murrieta Valley of Southern California, despite playing one of their best games so far this season. Meanwhile, the girls basketball team was playing in the West Coast Holiday Classic in Southern California, splitting a pair of games on Saturday. First defeating Legacy of North Las Vegas 51-42, then losing to the tournament host Burroughs 61-47.
Garrett Lapierre brings us some insight into the real estate market with his segment, Property Perspectives.
I'm Garrett Lapierre, local real estate agent with Century 21 Jim Wilson Realty. And today I want to talk about how did they come up with that price? At some point we've all asked ourselves, how did they come up with that price that they're asking for that property? Usually it's one of our neighbors that we're asking that question about. And I want to give a little insight into how real estate agents help people come up with a property or come up with the price to sell their property at. So the first thing I do when I get a phone call from somebody asking, what is my home worth, is I want to go see that property. Every property is unique. Every property is a little different. Even in subdivisions or tract housing where this floor plan's the same, maybe the amenities are the same. Every property offers a different view. Every property offers a different lot. Every property offers different amenities in some way or another. That's the number one thing. How is your property different from the comparables? You need to know that. Then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at comparable properties in the neighborhood and what they've sold for. Usually I'll look at price per square foot, but that's not the overriding factor. But a price per square foot is a very good starting point and a good baseline to use. For instance, if a neighborhood's selling for $125 a square foot and your property is 1,600 square feet, I'm going to do that math. And that gives me a baseline. I know I'm somewhere in that area to start with. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little more specific and detailed. And I'm going to look at the comparable sale to my subject property and what amenities that the subject property has or doesn't have that the comparable sale did. From there, I'm going to make adjustments. If the house that sold had granite countertops and an updated kitchen, but the subject property has regular countertops and no updates in the kitchen, I'm going to make an adjustment for that. If the sold property has landscaping in the backyard, but the subject property does not, I'm going to make an adjustment for that. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the actives and pending listings that are in that area. The thing about appraisers is appraisers are usually working 3 months behind. They're using data from properties that have already sold. They're not looking forward. And real estate agents are looking 3 months ahead. What I mean by that is one property sold for $200,000 3 months ago, but there's a new listing on the same street, same floor plan, same everything, that's listed at $210,000. That's a price increase, and I'm going to look ahead at that. So when you call me to sell your property, I'm not going to look at just the property that sold for $200,000. I'm going to take into account the active listing or pending listing that's priced $10,000 higher than the one that sold. Having an agent who has experience with putting together comprehensive comparative market analysis, and more importantly, has an actual marketing plan. Here's what I'm going to do when I take a listing. My first step, my second step, all the way to my 38th step. There's no better advice I could give a seller than to find an agent who has those systems in place. It will help you sell your property faster and for a better price. We welcome any questions, comments, or topics you'd like to see covered here on Property Perspective. All you have to do is email us at carsontvnews@gmail.com. Thank you for watching this segment, and make it a great day.
Thank you, Garrett. And thank you all for joining us for this week's edition of Carson TV News. We hope you all have a very happy ringing in for 2015. We'll see you next week.